Right, welcome back, Math 7. Today's lesson is about Chapter 1, Coordinates and Design, and we're learning about specifically about type 3 of a transformation, which is rotation. Rotation will be broken down into two different sections. One that involve 90 degree, 180, 270, those kind of rotation without using any of an assessing tool, and generally goes around the center. And when it comes to part two, it's going to be similar, like 90 degree, 180 degree, 270 degree. However, it will be any of the point, any of your data point. Material that we need for today's lesson is basically graphing paper like you see on this, and then any type of ruler. The ruler that I prefer is something that you can see it through, so transparent type. You will know why. So let's define some of those terminology first. What does a rotation mean? So, definition. Rotation means a turned image about a fixed point called the center of rotation. So when we refer this transformation rotation, it basically means a turned image about a fixed point that is referred as the center of rotation. Now, the center of rotation, there can be multiple different ways, but one of the main center of rotation can be origin, which is 0 and 0 location. And when it comes to another one, it can be basically any point on quadrant 1 if it's positive and positive, 2 if it's negative and positive, 3 if it's negative and negative, and 4 if it's positive and negative. And these guys can be on a shape or a diagram, or it can be outside. So without further ado, let's draw some Cartesian plane, and we're going to do an example. We're going to use 10 centimeter at a time. Some of you guys may remember our previous lesson why. Because that gives us a good origin at the center. There you go. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that going above, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that go below of y-axis. Same thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the left. Without further ado, let's actually go through some of the example diagram. Why don't we draw a trapezoid that have A, B, C, and D, and I'm going to give you the coordinates of each of them. I want you to put A on 1 and 1, B on 2 and 3, C on 4 and 3, D on 6 and 1. At this point, I want you to pause the video and I want you to draw a diagram. All right, so now double check your original diagram. As you may notice, the diagram is located on quadrant number 1. Now, when it comes to rotation, there are 3 different types. When it comes to those, I'm going to put those 3 different type of rotation: 90 degree, 180 degree, and 270 degree rotation. These are type of rotation. When it comes to the direction of rotation, there are 2 also. Type number 1, type number 2. One is clockwise. As you may know, clockwise go like this way. And the other is known as counterclockwise. Which is the other way around. So using this example, here is a class example number 1 that I'm going to put. The question can easily ask, rotate an image about the origin with rotate an image about the origin with 90 degree clockwise direction. Let's say we need to do 90 degree angle clockwise rotation of this trapezoid. Here is what you need to understand. One of the method that I like to use is using this ruler. So first thing first, this origin 0, 0 is my point of rotation. I'm going to call it PR. So one thing that you need to understand is clockwise already telling me that the rotation will go this way, not the other way around. It's going to go quadrant 1, possibly quadrant 4, 3, 2 direction. So it's going opposite of the quadrant direction that we learned before. Here's a little bit of a method that I like to use. Whenever you see this point of rotation and this first dot A coordinates, I am putting my horizontal and vertical edge like this. And using my index finger, or it can be thumb or whatever, the points that you can think of, I'm going to rotate about quarter. So imagine this 1, 2, 3, 4. Entire rotation is 360 degree. If I do only 1 out of 4, that's a quarter rotation. And the quarter of 360 degree is basically 90 degree. So I'm going to rotate this 90 degree. And this point that is created right now, I'm going to put that as A prime. So my location 1, 1 changing into 1 and -1, something like that. Do the same thing for B. So locate your horizontal and vertical placement so that the corner of my ruler touches this point B, and you may notice my index finger is located at my rotation, point of rotation over here, and 90 degree clockwise. Be very careful. Then you notice, sorry, my finger slipped, so I'm gonna do this one more time. There you go. So right now I notice that my 2 3's now coming into 3 and -2, which is over here. Do the same thing with this C. Corner and my finger, 90 degree. And my last part, D, over here, rotate 90 degree. There you go. Now we have our new location, and as you may notice, the whole thing from quadrant number 1 is now located at quadrant number 4. And we are going to write down its new coordinate. A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime. A prime was 1 and negative 1. B prime is 3 and negative 2. C prime is 3 and negative 4. D prime is 1 and negative 6. If I compare this new coordinate to my original coordinate, you may notice that there is a little bit of pattern. First of all, the pattern goes like this. The whole diagram is in fact have positive and negative switch around. And left and right also switch around too. 2 and 3 for B changing into 3 and negative 2. 4 and 3 changing into 3 and negative 4. 6 and 1 change into 1 and negative 6. You don't need to memorize this pattern per se. I rather like to rely on material like ruler and maybe compass in future. So don't need to worry about this pattern. I'm just telling you that when it comes to high school level and higher junior high level, you need to understand that there is a little bit of a correlation or rules, I like to say, that whenever there's 90 degree, 180 degree type of rotation, it exists. That's what I want to point that out to you. One more thing that I also going to tell you is of this 90 degree clockwise direction. If the question says 270 degree counterclockwise, like this as a different condition, these two basically means the same thing. And I'm going to prove to you using the ruler method again. So right now, you may notice that I am locating my A position over here. Because it's 90 degree clockwise, we just move once, quarter direction towards a clockwise direction, right? Now imagine I'm doing counterclockwise, but 270 degree. 270 degree means it's a 3/4. So you're moving quarter, quarter, quarter again. Now observe what's happening. So my corner is located at A point, which is 1 and 1. And I'm going to rotate once, twice, and 3 times. And what do you know? As you may notice, it's located on the same point. And theoretically, you can explain in this way. Clockwise, 90 degree, I'm moving it once. If it's counterclockwise, 270 degree, I'm moving once, twice, and 3 times, which in the end is equal to clockwise moving once versus counterclockwise moving 1, 2, 3. It ended up located at the same quadrant. This image that you create by drawing 90 degree 90 degree clockwise basically means the same thing for a counterclockwise for 3 times, which is 270 degree. So it means the same thing. Similar logic, if I say 90 degree counterclockwise, that's a fancy way of saying 270 degree clockwise direction. So know the correlation, ladies and gentlemen. All right. I want you to pause this video and then I want you to create a triangle with the point A, B, and C. Because what we're going to do for the second situation is we're basically, example number 2, we are going to rotate an image about the origin with 180 degree counterclockwise. So pause this video and copy this. All right, once you copy the whole thing, you may notice that the triangle is located at quadrant number 1. Now, the second question basically informed you to rotate an image about the origin with 180 degree counterclockwise situation. Now, the good thing about 180 degree is it doesn't matter which direction that it's talking about. So what I mean by that is, if I have 180-degree clockwise, it basically means the same thing. How can I know that conclusion? Because think about it. If I'm moving this counterclockwise 180-degree, that's like half of the 360-degree, which is coming back to its original direction. So it's kind of like going once and going it twice, which you know that it will be ended up in quadrant number 2. If it's 180, you're moving it once and twice. But if you're doing it other way accidentally by doing clockwise situation, you may end up going quadrant 1 to quadrant 4, quadrant 4 to quadrant 3. So you're going to end up having the same image on quadrant number 3. So 180 degree is relatively easier compared to 90 or 270 degree. And the method, like what I did before, we're going to rely on the ruler. So locate your center of rotation using your finger, and then I have this corner adjust to A. I'm going to move it once and twice, and where I'm located at over here is my new position A prime. Same thing. From the origin over here and corner at B, gonna move once and twice, which ended up as -2 and -3 and 2. Let me just try this one more time. I think I accidentally moved the whole thing. Let's see. Once, twice. All right, I can see it now. The rotation should be -3 and -3. I accidentally put -3 and 2. Always double check, folks. And when it comes to our C, which is over here, I'm gonna move once and twice, which I'm gonna end it up having 1, 2, 3, -5 and -2. So if I connect the whole thing, there you go. This is our new image, rotating 180 degree. As I mentioned, this is quadrant number 3, so we are expecting every number to change its positive x-coordinate and y-coordinate into negative, and we can double check. 1 and 1 change into -1 and -1, which makes sense. So check over here. 3 and 3 ended up having -3 and -3, which is also good. And C, which is -5, -2, which is also check and check. So you may notice when it comes to the origin and rotation of the image, 180 degree, you may notice that every sign changes. And that's what you can do. That is today's lesson, ladies and gentlemen. Your homework question will be based on the textbook. And it's gonna be a little bit different type because I am using a slightly different setup of an image. There you go. I am modifying this question, so please pay attention. When you go to page 28, there are number 17, 18, and number 19. I want you to ignore the direction. I want you to rotate given images with, I'm going to be specific, rotate all given images about origin with number 1, 90-degree clockwise and 180-degree counterclockwise. So what I mean by that is this. This is question number 17. It says copy this and rotate around C. Ignore that for now. Imagine it is saying rotate about origin over here, 0, and I want you to do 90-degree counterclockwise and then 180-degree using 0.0 as your reference point. I want you to give it a shot for 17, 18, and 19. You have A, B, C, D situation. I want you to do this A, B, and C, which I'm going to specifically put that in here. A, B, and C. That is today's lesson.